El fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender. How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 107 of the Exec Talk podcast. I'm your host, El Velez. How are we doing? I've been gone for about 11 days, okay? I've been gone for about 11 days. Now, I was taking care of a cat for one of my best friends. Shout out Sadra. I was taking care of his cat, so I couldn't get home in time before the game started, and my schedule was all screwed up. So we're back at it, same schedule. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna get to the results of every series that happened. We're gonna get to the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix that we learned some stuff maybe for the future of Formula One. We're going to talk about NASCAR, the All-Star Race, Indy, the fact that the Indy 500 is this upcoming weekend, so is the Monaco Grand Prix, the finals, the Champions League final, Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid, June 1st, and Haaland won the Golden Boot for the second year in a row. Manchester City won the championship for the fourth year in a row from the Premier League. As well as we're going to look forward to what the Western Nation Conference Finals are going to start looking like. The NFL schedule came out, but I'm not going to break it down in this episode. I want to have some time to see the matchups and everything. I haven't looked at the schedule per se, all of it. I know that the first game is Kansas City versus the Ravens in Baltimore. I mean, in Kansas City for banner night. And the ring ceremony. Very good game. I expect it to be... It's either going to go one or two ways. It's going to be highly defensive, or it's going to be highly offensive. We don't know how the rosters are shaping up just yet, who's going to start, who's everything, so I'm not going to comment on who wins, but what I will say is that Lamar versus Patrick Mahomes, game one is going to be one of the highest rated games of the season, and two, probably one of the best finishes of the season. But let's get right to it. Knicks, this is where we left off, guys. This is where we get left off. We left off. Knicks go up 2-0. We actually left off in game one. So I'm going to jumble up the series games a little bit because there's a lot of games that we missed in these 11 days. I'm going to talk about key moments and everything, but for the most part, I'm going to cover the series as if it was a series instead of a game-by-game type of thing. We'll talk about certain games, though. But I'll give you a synopsis. The Knicks go up 2-0 at home. Brunson is hurt in the second quarter. He comes back in the second half. OG hurts his hamstring. He misses the whole series, basically. Plays 5 minutes in the last game in Game 7. The Villanova trio, especially in this whole series, came up and showed out, including DiVincenzo dropping 40, 43, 42, 41, 42 in the Game 7. But this series came down to one thing and one thing only. If the Knicks were healthy, they would have won this series in 5. You are talking about not having your starting center in Mitchell Robinson, starting power forward in Julius Randle, OG Anunoby, your starting small forward gets hurt, and Brunson breaks his hand third quarter of Game 7. Absolutely decimated. Josh Hart had an abdominal strain that he suffered in Game 6. The amount of fight that I saw from this Knicks team just lets me know that this is a team that's going to be, you have to reckon with it in the upcoming years. Brunson is absolutely a superstar that you can build around. I believe they need one more scorer, and I mean scorer. I don't mean somebody that's going to take away the shine from Jalen Brunson, because Jalen Brunson is the point guard of this team and should be the leader of this team. There shouldn't be a guy going in there like a Donovan Mitchell or even a KD looking to take 20, 25 shots a game. I think a guy that could take 15 to 20 shots a game on a night that maybe Brunson doesn't have it going, or they're double teaming him or trapping him like they did in this series with Naismith and McConnell, and they threw Nembhard at him. He ate him up for lunch every game, but Naismith and McConnell really did a job on him. The wear and tear of this series came down to rebounding and offensive rebounding. The Knicks led that category for most of the series. Indiana, what they took advantage of, first they found their defensive identity in the last 3 games. And then at the same time, their offense was, just like in the regular season, the number 1 offense in the league. And it was just clicking. It was like they would make shots. This ball is literally 7 seconds or less. You thought the 9 seconds or less Suns with Stoudemire and Nash and Barbosa and Marion, that was fast? No, this is 7 seconds or less. This is you make a 3 and we are taking the ball out as fast as we can, running up the ball, running up the court. Before you even have your transition set up, we're either taking a 3 or taking it to the rim. That's their offense. And for the Knicks to be so banged up, even in their bench, Bogdanovich, one of their leading bench scorer, out with the foot. And none of the only ones that you could say, because they're saying this about Tom Thibodeau, oh, he runs people into the ground. He did it in Chicago. He did it in Minnesota. Yes, but no, because they had to. No Julius Randle, no Mitchell Robinson, no OG Anunoby, no Bogdanovich. Like, what? There is nobody else. Miles McBride starting in this series in Game 5. Like, they were pulling. Alec Burks made an appearance in the last 2 games and really contributed and kept them in the game, especially in Game 6. But like, you have to, as a Knicks fan, you have to look at this season. And although Brunson is a proven winner, and he is like, no, the season was a failure because we didn't win the championship. And that was okay. From a player's perspective, I love it. Because I want my guy, my main dude, my superstar, to have that type of mentality when it comes to the playoffs. But as a fan, and even as a team, you have to see this as a success because it was unexpected. Yes, last year you got past Cleveland, but you weren't fully whole. You get OG Anunoby this year, and it really kicks up the defense and your offensive side of the ball. But once his hamstring gave out in Game 2, that could have been wear and tear. The abdominal strain by Josh Hart could have been wear and tear. Jalen Brunson hit Halliburton's knee trying to go for a block. Fractured his hand. That's not wear and tear. Mitchell Robinson steps on a guy. That's not wear and tear. Bogdanovich steps on a dude. That's not wear and tear. Like, none of the big injury. Julius Randle fell hard. That's not wear and tear. So I think for the Knicks, you feel proud, and you go into next season, into this summer, you add a little bit more to the bag. Maybe you add a scorer, a DeMar DeRozan, somebody that can get you a bucket when Jalen Brunson is getting hounded. I love this leap that I saw from Dante DiVincenzo. I love the leap that I saw from Josh Hart. Like this, if they're going to be these type of players, like they're definitely going to be in the top 4 conversation in the East every year for the upcoming years. I love Jalen Brunson. I love Tibbs. It's just about, can Tibbs understand with this series that just happened? Can he understand that maybe having a 9-man rotation is something good when you have people, let's say they had a healthy Bogdanovich and then Alec Burks and Miles McBride. And so, that means DiVincenzo would come off the bench. Maybe Josh Hart was coming off the bench when Julius Randle was in. because they wanted to play OG Anunoby and Julius Randle. The two would still be Dante, I still believe. But then you would have a lot more fresher bodies. And will Tibbs lean into that for stretches in a playoff game instead of running his guys 48 minutes? That remains to be seen, but valiant effort. The injury bug is a luck monster that you have to hit in order to win an NBA championship. Every single NBA champion has been healthy. Even when you look at those Warriors teams in 2018 going for the three-peat, they broke down. Curry broke down. Clay tore his knee. Kevin tore his Achilles. It wears down on you. But for the Knicks to put up a valiant effort all the way to Game 7 in their home court, but let's go to the other side. The Pacers broke the NBA record in playoffs for shooting percentage. They shot 67.1% from the field. They beat the 1963 Celtics. That is a Bill Russell team. So, and they shot 78% in the first half. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. And for Brunson, he didn't have a great game. Then he got hurt. He might have gotten hot later in the game as that game kept going. But, it just didn't. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And as soon as he got hurt, you knew the game was over, essentially. Because you're not gonna, with what you have, even though you tried valiantly, especially in that third quarter, you got it down to 8, and it seemed close. You lost 130 to 109. They shot the shit out of the ball, the Pacers did. Halliburton dropped 26, 10 for 17. DiVincenzo dropped 39, 11 for 21, including, I think, 7 or 9 threes. But the Pacers had control since Pacers were up. Pacers were up already by the early in the first quarter. I mean early in the first quarter. I'm trying to figure it out here, but let me just go to the play-by-play because the graph in ESPN is not working. The Knicks had a lead for about, that's it. That was the lead. The Knicks lost the lead and never got it back at 6-5, 9:57 in the first quarter. The Pacers go on to shoot 78% for the half. They missed 5 shots. 5. And at halftime, it was bad. I mean, at halftime, the first quarter ended 39-27, so they were already up 12. And they just kept stretching the lead, and, Pacers offense was overwhelming the Knicks' very depleted team. And, got to give him props. Now to the next series that we're going to break down. The next series. The Cavs destroy the Celtics at home. This is game 2 of the Cavs series. This series ended in 5 games, and Donovan Mitchell didn't play for the last 2 games because he was hurt. Jared Allen, hurt. Now, I'm not saying Boston would have lost to the Cavs had they had Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell for the full series, but I believe it would have been longer than 5. And here's the thing. Finally, we saw something of Jason Tatum. The last 2 games, he showed up. Thank God, right? I mean, you guys, you Celtics fans were waiting for him to wake up, right? He gives you 25 in game 5. He gave you 33, I believe, in game 4. So has he woken up? Doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Because it's about getting to the finals. Whether he's woken up or not. The thing I'll say about the Cavs, Evan Mobley showed me a lot this series. He went 33 points with no Donovan Mitchell in game 5, 15 for 24. The game was in question, I would say, up until 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Was the last lead that it was tied at 4 minutes left in the second quarter, and from there Boston just took off. They won 113-98. They shot 48% from the field. The Cleveland Cavaliers did. Boston 52.5%. Boston 44% from 3. Cavs shot 42. Celtics have more turnovers. That's normal. But then 43 rebounds for the Celtics. Just outreach, destroyed the glass. And, game 4 was 109-102. The Cavs could have won that one. It was there for the taking. They just didn't close it out. Jason Tatum with 33. Darius Garland had 30 with no Donovan Mitchell. Like, if there was one to get without Donovan Mitchell, it was this one at their home court. Didn't happen. Cleveland Cavaliers. Good showing. You guys weren't whole. We understand that. I still don't know if you would have beat this team. I did pick Boston in 6, but once, Donovan Mitchell, you lose him for 2 games, it's definitely going to be in 5. And for Donovan Mitchell, yes, he has something to think about, but it was very interesting that after the game, he said, "I'm happy in Cleveland. I want to stay here." And that's interesting because his services will be requested upon by the Lakers, New York, maybe the Heat. And, do I think that he can... let's be honest. The NBA is about winning championships. You build teams, GMs build teams, players go to places to win championships. Do I feel that in Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell can win a championship? As currently constructed, if they were fully healthy, I am not sure if they could get past Boston. Now, if they probably, and even a healthy Milwaukee and a healthy 76, no, he cannot win a championship with the Cavs. Now, that's not to say that he could go win a championship somewhere else. Because if I'm Donovan Mitchell and I want to leave, I'm staying in the East. I don't want nothing what's going on in the West. Nothing. Zero part of it. I left it. I left Utah because Golden State was over there. Now you got a couple, 4 or 5 monsters over there. And they're all young. And another one coming. So, Victor, by the way. So, if I'm Donovan Mitchell, I think there's 1 or 2 moves that I'm willing to talk about and maybe go through with. Miami and the Knicks. I don't want to go to the Lakers. I don't want to go to the Clippers. What other team could inquire? And legitimately have a shot. Like, have a shot at getting him. That's another thing. The Nets. Don't want to hear them all. Miami, New York. Why? Miami has a culture. Miami has a way of play that he can thrive in. Having Jimmy and Bam, Tyler Hero, we would have to get rid of. We would have to send them to Cleveland. But then he steps into the Tyler Hero role, and he's a much better, high-caliber player. Do I think that gives us the edge against Boston? Yes, because we would have the requisite amount of scoring needed to use our defense to our advantage. Now, will it win us a chip? The West is a different story. But it would give us a chance. For New York, I don't know if you want to lean into the small backcourt because it didn't work in Cleveland, but you have Jalen Brunson, which is a much better player than Darius Garland at this point in his career. 5th in the MVP. Shout out Nikola Jokic for his 3rd MVP. Shea should have won it. He got 2nd. Luka got 3rd. I think Anthony Edwards will have a case next year. We'll get to that. So if I'm New York, do I want to go with a 6'1" and a 6'1" guards? Now, Donovan would be the 2. He would play the 2. That would move DiVincenzo to the bench. DiVincenzo's fine coming off the bench, and if it's for a championship, everybody on that team is all in. So maybe I'm thinking about New York, but the Knicks, I don't think, would lean into the 6'1", 6'1" backcourt. Just because they can get abused by, your Damian. Nah, I mean, in the East, what guard could really do damage on you? Well, forwards is what would annihilate you. Tatum, Jaylen Brown, of course, Giannis. Just big forwards is what it would terrorize you. But I don't think that it's inconceivable to maybe think about the Knicks. They've been wanting them for a while. But I don't think they want to mess up what Brunson and the Villanova trio has. So, if I'm Donovan, I'm looking at Miami. I'm 27 years old, going on 28. I'm in my prime. I get to play with Bam, a young kid in Triple J, and I have Spo. I might roll with that. But at the same time, maybe I just take Cleveland and keep going. Hope Darius Garland hits that next ceiling, that next level, hoping Evan Mobley stays at this level next season, and Jared Allen is healthy. For the Boston Celtics, we don't care. We do not. Okay? This is still what we're thinking about you. Will they show up in the finals? And I'm going to be very clear when we go through the what the next series will be, which is the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm going to be very clear when we break that down of what Boston must do to not get embarrassed. Yes, I said embarrassed. Do I believe it will happen? No. Can it happen? Absolutely. Absolutely. We've seen it happen. Okay? But we'll talk about that later. Next series. Mavs, Thunder. I said Mavs in 6. I told you guys Mavs in 6. Why did you say that, Velez? Very simple. The addition of Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, along with the coming along of the rookie Derek Lively in the interior, was going to be too much eventually for the Thunder. Shout out to the Mavs, by the way. And this is without Luka having an amazing series. This is without Kyrie having an absolutely amazing series. But they showed up when they needed to. Now, let's talk about the Thunder for a second. Shea is absolutely incredible. One of the smoothest games I've ever seen. I am talking about silky smooth. It reminds me of Paul George now. That's how smooth this game is. You know, PG super smooth with it. Not a lot of wasted motion. Not a lot of la. Same thing with Shea. He gets in that 15, 18-foot range, puts that shoulder, and just fades back. Hits the behind the back, gets to the rim, has all these type of finishes. The guy is a legit superstar in this league. He's 25. Chet is going to get stronger. He was only a rookie. Jalen Williams had a so-so series. I believe that he will get better in his third year next year. Giddey, we'll see what happens with him. I believe they need to bring in size. I don't know if they'll draft it. They have a lot of draft capital they want to do that. But I would be looking for adding somebody like maybe trying to poach away a Jonas Valanciunas from the New Orleans Pelicans. Trying to poach away you're not going to get Mitchell Robinson, a Isaiah Hartenstein from the Knicks. Those are the type of players and rebounders that I'm thinking that they need. They don't need much else. They can shoot the three. They can get inside. They can drive. They can defend. The problem with this series was the rebounding battle. And if we go to the series itself, to the games, two going to Oklahoma City. Mavs win 104-92. Doncic puts in 31 on 12 of 22. Extremely efficient, over 50%. Shea drops 30 on 12 of 22. Okay? But the Mavs shot basically 53% from the field. And they held OKC to 42.5. The three-point percentage was 40 for the Mavs, 25 for OKC, and that's where the game basically was won. And 46 rebounds, a 13-point advantage on rebounds for the Mavs. That was game 5 to go up 3-2 in OKC. Game 6 was a 1-point game. An absolute thriller. A thriller from moment one. Shea dropped 36 on 14 of 25. Luka dropped 29 on 9 of 15. But this was a topsy-turvy affair, and the Thunder had most of the lead for most of the game. OKC shot 48% from field goal. Dallas shot 51%. OKC shot 37% from 3. Dallas shot 47%. The turnovers were nasty. I mean, Dallas had 18. OKC only had 10. But then you look at the rebounds, and it's a 18 plus rebound advantage. 47 to 31 or 16 rebounds. So it came down to rebounding. Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, PJ Washington. Another thing about PJ Washington in this series, hell of a performance from 3-point range. And this game had everything. Chet, 21, but he went 1 for 7 from 3. He went 9 for 15, but 1 for 7 from 3. Jalen Williams, 22, 8 of 16, 3 of 5 from 3. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 4 of 5 from 3, 14 of 25, 36 points. But Isaiah Joe dropped 11, 3 of 4 from 3. Lou Dort dropped 2 of 7 from 3 and 11 points, 3 of 10 from the field. And then the bench was 6 points from Jalen Williams from Arkansas. Ken Rich gave you 2. Wiggins gave you 0. Giddey gave you 2. And Cason Wallace gave you 5. If you go to the Mavs, PJ didn't have a great game this game, but the past few games he's had great games in the 20s. You know, playoff career highs, including 29, I think, back-to-back games. But he drops 9. Derrick Jones Jr. drops 22, goes 8 for 13 and 4 of 6 from 3. Derrick Jones Jr., former Miami Heat. High-flying, catching lobs, playing great defense. Great defense. And, you know, for him to step up in that moment in a game 6 at home to try to go to the Western Conference Finals, big moment. Daniel Gafford, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 4 of 7 from the field. Kyrie Irving, 9 for 23. Not a good shooting game. 4 for 10 from 3, 40%. 22. Big points. Big points in the second half. Doncic, 45 minutes, scored 29, 10 and 10. Triple-double. Tim gave you 2. Derek Lively gave you 12. Big 12 points coming off the bench. Josh Green gave you 6. And Jaden Hardy, who started playing the last 2 games of the series, gave you 5. For this to end at a 1-point game is incredible. And it was. It was incredible. Down the stretch, I was on the edge of my seat watching this game. But I really saw, one, the youth of OKC. They did need that one experience. They needed that hurt. But also the poise from Dallas. Thunder were up. But they didn't matter. They kept pushing. It was 30-23 after the first quarter. They got outscored again, 34-25 in the second quarter. In the third quarter, Mavs went 35-26. And in the fourth quarter, 34-26. So they flipped it in the second half. But this game, I mean, it literally came down to Shai making a shot to go up 1. On the other end, with the clock going down, with 2.5 seconds left, PJ Washington gets the ball in the corner. He goes up for a shot. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander puts his hand on the ball, blocks it, but it slips off and hits PJ Washington's forearm. 3-point shot, shooting foul. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Remember, up 2. Up 2. So the third free throw is the most important. Okay? No, up 1. Needed to tie and then sink the other one. He missed one. One, for the referee to call that, it was the right call. Yes, it was a foul. They challenged it So, it's not like they didn't challenge it. They challenged it. They upheld it. Same type of situation happened a day later in another game we're going to talk about. But OKC has everything you need. Everything. The it guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, one of the best scorers in the league, period. Jalen Williams, a kid that has star potential written all over him on the defense and offensive side of the ball. Super efficient. Josh Giddey's that one piece that's just like, what do we do with Josh Giddey? He had some good moments. He had some bad moments. Still can't shoot. So we'll see there. But you got Isaiah Joe, one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Chet Holmgren is only going to get better. He's only 21. 22. He's only going to get better. He's going to gain more strength. His shot is going to be good. His shot went away from him later in this series, but he can sink threes at a 40% clip. And Lou Dort's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. And he had the assignment all series of covering Luka and did a hell of a job. A hell of a job. Every game. Luka's going to get his, but he did a hell of a job pestering him, being in his space, not allowing him to get to the step back. When he gets in the lane, make sure that he disrupts his arms so he can't get up shots easy. I mean, Lou Dort played hella defense on Luka Doncic. Shai played great defense on Kyrie. But having Kyrie and having Luka, two of the best closers in the league, at home to close out the series, and for it to be won on PJ Washington free throws was absolutely incredible to see, and it was nerve-wracking. But I said it, Mavs in 6. Mavs in 6. Remember I said that. Go back into the pods. I have receipts of my own. For the Mavs, I mean, OKC's going to be here for years to come, especially with the bevy of first-round picks that they have and pick swaps. And Sam Presti has built a juggernaut over there, and he's only going to keep adding to it. Mark Dagnall's a great coach. Calm, cool, collected, poised, still gets what he needs out of them. The team is young. They'll learn from this. Shai's going to come back stronger. Yeah, the Thunder are here, and they're going to be here for a while. As for Dallas, without having a great series from Luka, without having a great series from Kyrie, and great, I mean like 30-plus a game from each. That's what their standard is for their careers, essentially, especially in the playoffs. Kyrie, not at 30 a game. Not right now, but 25 would have been nice. But for you to not have that type of performance all series from Luka and Kyrie, and for you to still win this in 6, says a hell of a lot about Jason Kidd, PJ Washington, Derek Lively, a rookie out of Duke, Daniel Gafford. PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford were on shit team. We're on this type of team. PJ on Charlotte, in Charlotte, Daniel Gafford at the Wizards, and they come to the Dallas Mavericks. They buy in and become critical parts of a deep playoff run. That's team building. Kyrie hasn't said a peep all season. All season. This man's been happy-go-lucky since day one. And Luka's been Luka. And I think he's going to continue being Luka. That you can only slow him down. You can't stop him. Both of those guys. Especially in the fourth quarter. And Josh Green. Jaden Hardy. Big moments. Big threes. Defensive stops. Shai kept, in the fourth, in both of the last 2 games, Shea was absolutely unbelievable. Made every fadeaway, got fouled, went to the line. Like, they had to fight for this series. And Luka's back in the conference finals since the first time since 2022 when he got 4-1 by Steph Curry and the eventual champions in the Golden State Warriors. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but he might be going home again. He might be going back home again. All right, last but certainly not least. But certainly not least. And we had some great moments in these rounds. I mean, you know, the Andrew Nembhard 30-footer in Game 3 to win against the Knicks. You know, you had the you know, I'm gonna talk about the Nuggets and Timberwolves. You know, you had PJ Washington with 27 in Game 3. After the series, you know, went 1-1. You know, just wonderful. I mean, the Indiana destroyed the Knicks when they got to Indiana. Like, destroyed the Knicks. Destroyed. I mean, the game was over. Game 4 was over after the first quarter. The whistle was questionable, but so it was around these playoffs. The Nuggets even the series by, you know, we're going to talk about what happened in that series. You know, and the Mavs came back from 17 down in the third quarter to win in Game 6. So let's talk about the Timberwolves. I said Timberwolves in 7. And if I could have done the 2 episodes that you guys needed last week, I would have said Wolves in 7. And I would have taken the Wolves in Game 7, which I did. I put a bet on it. The defense that has led the NBA all year, number 1 defense, including in the playoffs, is what showed up in Game 6 and 7. What showed up in Game 3, 4, and 5 was the defending champion Nuggets. And Michael Malone put it perfectly before Game 7. If you match this teams up 50 times, he believes it'd be 25-25. They're that evenly matched. One team can shut down the other. Another team can go on runs. It's just like that. And we had swings in this series so big from game to game. So big. I mean, if we look at the series as a whole and these scores, it is incredible. You go from Game 1, 106-99. Okay, that's pretty close. Timberwolves get it. 106-99 again in Game 2. No, 106-80. So there's the first blowout, 26 points. Timberwolves. Then the Nuggets go 117-90 in Minnesota, 27-point drumming. Then you go Minnesota again, and they beat you 115-107. Okay, 8 points. All right. And then you go back to Denver, and you go 112-97. So, 15. And then you get to Game 6. But what happened in those 3 games? What happened in those 3 games was that Nikola Jokic was eating alive Rudy Gobert. I mean, eating him alive. The best guy that covered Jokic this whole series with Karl Anthony Towns What? Shout out to Cat, man. You're talking about a guy after he got picked number 1 overall and he was with Andrew Wiggins. People thought he was soft. He got challenged by Jimmy Butler and it's called soft. But he gets Ant-Man. Gets a guy like Ant-Man as a leader, a tenacious, but a happy-go-lucky, bubbly guy that is an absolute killer. And he gets the dog out of him. And he faced up Jokic and put up a great defensive, just trying to bother him on every shot. Yes, he fouled him a couple times, but he was trying hard. And he affected shots. Made Jokic miss. Now, when Rudy Gobert was on him, especially those next 3 games after the 2-0 start, and they said it. They said it going into game 3. Hey, we smelled the Kool-Aid a little bit. The 3 days helped Denver, especially Jamal Murray with that calf. And then the role players started. Michael Porter Jr. Aaron Gordon, Christian Braun. I mean, you had a Justin Holiday game. You know? So Aaron Gordon dominated the boards one game. You know, and then Jokic just left over the left shoulder, over the right shoulder, spin, footwork. Rudy Gobert couldn't do nothing. Games 4 and 5 were absolute cooking displays of utter destruction by Nikola Jokic. And to be more precise, game 1, Anthony Edwards, 43. That was game 1. Game 2, Anthony Edwards, 27. Okay? Then we get to game 3. 19 for Ant. 8 of 15, 3 for 8 from 3. Okay, they defended him well. You know what they started doing? They double-teamed the absolute shit out of Ant. I am talking about hard double. I'm not talking about no show, let me hedge. No. I'm talking about Jamal Murray and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and, Christian Brown. I'm talking about hellacious double teams. Like boxing 1 double teams where it's like I need the ball away from you. I need it away. You need to get rid of this ball. And for the first couple of games, Ant was kind of struck by it. He was like, damn. All right, I guess I'll pass the ball. But Ant has this ability, especially growing. Like, he's growing in these playoffs. It's wonderful to see. He gets double teamed. All right, I'm going to trust my teammates. I'm not going to get frustrated. I'm going to trust my teammates. And he trusted Kat, and he trusted Jaden, and he trusted Nas, Nikhil Alexander. He trusted Kyle Anderson. He trusted Rudy. And then the game came to him. Usually he's in the second half. We get to game 4. 115-107. And Ant drops 44, his playoff career high, in a loss. Goes 16 for 25, super efficient, 5 for 8 from 3, 5 and 5. But he couldn't get even 20 points from anybody else. They shot 48% from the field, 40% from 3. But the Nuggets shot 45% from 3 and 57% from the field, including 35 and 7 from Jokic and 19 from Murray and Aaron Gordon with 27 on 11 of 12 and 2 for 3. Okay? Then we go to game 5 where it's 2-2 in Denver, and the Nuggets win 112-197, and you get 18 from Ant. 5 for 15, bad shooting night. 23 from Towns, 10 of 19, pretty good, but nobody else could do much. Nickeil Alexander-Walker hit 4 threes. He put in 14. But you get 40, 13, and 7 from Jokic. 15 of 22. 2 of 3 from 3. Then you get Aaron Gordon with 18. You get Jamal Murray with 16. You get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope with 16. You get 10 from Christian Braun. And you win that game. And Ant said, leaving that arena after Game 5, he said, "I'll see you back here I'll see you mother effers here for Game 7." He said that to a security guard. All right, Ant. I see you. So what do they do in Game 6 when they go back to Minnesota? They destroy. Game 2 type destruction. 115-170. 45-point absolute blowout after starting the game 9-2. The Nuggets did. 20-0 run. 20-0 or 22 roll. After that. Then they went on another 21 run in the third. And it wasn't even an Anthony Edwards game. It was just the defense was suffocating. Like Game 2. Suffocate. 45-point blowout. 45 points. Second largest loss in the history in an elimination game. In a potential elimination game in the history of the NBA. 45 points. Aaron Gordon with 12. Nikola Jokic with 22, 9 of 19. Jamal Murray with 10. He was strapped up, 4 of 18. And nobody gave him nothing. Got 27 from Edwards, 13 from Conley, 10 from Cat, 21 from Jaden. And that's another piece of this. Jaden found his stroke. He found his stroke from 3. He went 3 of 5. He went 8 for 10 from the field, being efficient around the rim. A little floater here, layups, some jumpers. They got 10 from Naz Reid, 9 from Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So that's Game 6. Now you go back to Denver, right? And Denver goes up 15 at halftime. And the Wolves can't hit shots. And Nuggets are just hitting, Jamal Murray's going nuts, scoring 24 in the first half. And Jokic is playing well. And Jokic is hitting everything. But what did the Timberwolves do? They stuck to it. They stuck to it. No panic. No lack of poise. Shout out to Chris Finch. Hell of a coaching job with a torn patellar tendon on the sidelines. Shout out to Coach Mike Norrie, the assistant coach that is acting as head coach on the floor. So you get 34, 19, and 7 from Jokic on 13 of 28. But he goes 2 of 10 from 3. Then you get a Jamal Murray game. 35 points, 13 of 27. 4 of 12 from 3. But then Michael Porter goes 3 of 12, 1 from 6 from 3. Aaron Gordon goes 2 for 5. 0, doesn't attempt a three-pointer. Caldwell Pope goes 2 for 7, 1 for 4 from 3. And you get 5 points from your bench. 5 from Christian Braun. That's it. You go to the middle, so the Timberwolves, you get another 23, 7 of 10, super efficient 3 of 4 from 3 from McDaniels, including big buckets to keep them afloat in the first half and in the second half. Rudy drops in 13. Big free throws. Big free throws in the fourth quarter. Karl Anthony Towns, 8 for 14, 1 of 6 from 3, but 23 big points and 12 giant rebounds, including the putback that ended the game. It was a putback dunk off of, I believe, an Anthony Edwards 3 with 45 seconds left to put them up 8. They won this game 98-90. In every game that the Timberwolves won, they held the Nuggets under 100 points. In the 3 games that they lost, the Nuggets scored 127. That was their offensive rating, 127. That's higher than anybody in the league this season, including the Boston Celtics, which had the highest one at 122. So this defense is absolutely legit. And they just locked down in the second half. They put their nose to the grindstone, and Anthony Edwards shut Jamal Murray off. He shut that faucet off. That shit was not spraying water no more. Spraying bricks. Turnovers. Steals. Transition buckets. That's how they got back in the game. They were down 20 in the third. They got down 15 at halftime. Biggest halftime comeback ever was 13. So they came back from that. And they came back from 20 in the third. They started clawing back. And when they got it to 10, I was like, okay. Then they got it to 6. I was like, okay. And then they got it to 1 on an Anthony Edwards just Jordan-esque cooking session of Aaron Gordon. Just beep, 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 in outside and out, in and out. You know, tween, step back, wet. Then he sunk one with 3 minutes left to put him up 10 and essentially start the beginning of the end for Denver. But, you know, Mike Conley got 10 points, 3 of 5, big threes. He went 3. He only made 3 out of 10, but those 3 were threes. He went 3 out of 5 from 3 with 8 rebounds. And then Ant went 6 for 24. He went 2 for 10 from 3. He had 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and 16 points. But those 16 points were so big because they came off of steals. 2 dunks off of steals of Jamal Murray. Timely threes. The one against Aaron Gordon to get it to 1. The one to put him up 10 with 3 minutes left. You know, timely drives to the basket. He didn't have it in the first half, but he kept being aggressive. Finding his teammates, driving and kicking. I mean, he played a hell of a basketball game, and he let it all on the line on the defensive side of the ball. What enamors me about this kid is that he has both the want to and the desire and the ability to be a Jordan-esque, Kobe-esque perimeter defender. Make all NBA defensive teams. And make all NBA teams. And win MVPs. And win finals MVPs. Win championships. Like, he has it all. He has the ability and the want to be that great. And that's why he's my favorite player. Because even in a 16-point awful shooting night, he still impacts the game. And they would not win without him in this game. Kyle Anderson gives you 2. Naz Reid gives you 11 huge ones. Makes 1 3, goes 4 for 7. A putback dunk off a I believe Conley missed 3 or Jaden McDaniels 3. And essentially this series, again, came down to the glass. The Nuggets, 44 rebounds. The Minnesota Timberwolves, 47. Those extra 2 were huge. Huge. Okay? 24% from 3 for the Nuggets. 41% from the field. I'm telling you, it was only Jokic and Murray. Nobody else had double figures. Nobody. Everybody else scored 21 in total. Not like the Timberwolves shot any better. They shot 30% from 3, 29%, and 39% from the field. It was just the defense. For the Nuggets, you need more bench. I think Jordan Strother's going to make a leap next year. Hunter Tyson, three-point shooter off the bench. But I think Jordan Strother's that key piece. If you guys want to move MPJ, I suggest you start Jordan Strother. He's another shooter, but he can shoot off he could get off the bounce. He did it at Gonzaga. What was that at UConn? No. Villanova. UConn. Might have been at UConn. Jordan might have been at UConn. Because I remember Cam was at Villanova. Cam Whitmore. Yeah, I think he won the championship, Jordan Strother. So he can get off the bounce. He's tall enough to get rebounds. He can pass. He can also shoot set shots. So I think he has a leap coming. I think they have to make a decision whether to keep MPJ or to move on from him. You're not going to get his shoot, but he was not good in this series. He was just not good in this series. Great in the Lakers series, but he was not good in this series. You need more bench scoring. Reggie Jackson, Christian Braun. You lost Jeff Green. You lost Bruce Brown. Those were your guys that really scored off the bench. Hurt you. And at the end of the day, you got to be a little bit healthier. You know, Jamal with the calf, that was tough, especially for a couple games there. You still got Jokic, so you're still going to be in the mix. You can win a title next year, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I know that Michael Malone wanted to go back-to-back, and he definitely showed his frustrations after Game 7, saying, stupid-ass question to the reporter when they ask, hey, how much does it hurt after being up by 20 in a Game 7 at home? And he said, next question. And then he said, the season's over. That's what hurts. Who gives a F about being up 20? Season's over. So you can tell that he was, he's in pain, and he'll probably apologize. He's a classy dude. But man, this was the finals. I said it before the series. The champion will come from this series. My champion is the Timberwolves. Against anybody. They'll get through Dallas. And we'll talk about that series coming up. And they'll get through Indiana or Boston. Probably Boston, but they'll get through everybody. Why? It's not just Anthony Edwards. Although he's a big part of it. A big part of it. It's the fact that they believe, and it's the fact that they know that they can lock down anybody defensively, including Jokic and Jamal Murray. They shut down the two-man game. Shut it down in the second half. Shut it down. And it was tough to deal with, man. That two-man game, games 3, 4, and 5, it's so hard to stay disciplined. They kept doubling Jokic and just challenged people to make shots this game in Game 7, and they just did not. And they were at home. 75% of the time, Game 7s are won by the home team. Shout out to the Timberwolves, baby. Western Conference Finals bound. All right. Let's talk about the series. First, we're going to talk about Boston, Indiana. First thing, off the bat, it's going to be a very, very fast pace series. Both teams love to run. Love to run. Now, the double-edged sword for Indiana. If you get in a running matchup with Boston, that means Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown will get more shot attempts. Porzingis will not start this series. I believe that he will come in Game 5, if necessary, at 2-2. I believe that they insert him in. I don't think that they're rushing him back at all. I think he's ready, but I don't think they want to rush him back. I think that they have enough. Okay? The defense for Indiana, if they can put it at the level that they were against the Knicks, especially McConnell, Naismith, Toppin. If they can do that, they have a shot. Why? This offense is absolutely incredible to watch, especially when they're hitting shots. And they can hit shots against the Boston Celtics. They can shoot threes with the Boston Celtics. This is not going to be Boston Celtics shooting 45 threes and Indiana having no answer for it. Halliburton plus 40%. Nembhard plus 40%. Naismith plus 40%. Miles Turner plus 40%. Everybody plus 4 except McConnell. Plus high 30s, plus 40% from three. The ball pops. Pascal is going to be in the lane getting his twos. He can defend. He's going to be on Tatum. He's going to be on Brown. I believe the matchups are going to be Pascal on Tatum, Naismith or Obi Toppin on Jaylen Brown. Naismith might be too small, but he's a tenacious defender. And then Obi Toppin has the size to deal with Jaylen Brown. I believe that's your matchups. Miles Turner is going to cook Al Horford alive. He's going to push them out to the three-point line. He's going to be like, come over here, you 37-year-old. I'm going to drain this on your face. Okay? This ball pops constantly. The ball hits a palm, and it's gone in just the fastest amount of time. Swing, quick. I think Halliburton is now finding his offensive rhythm like he was before the injury. He's going to be in the 25 to 27-point range with high assist numbers. I do not expect the Boston defense to have as much as an effect as it's had in the last two series. Okay? The thing I think that if the Luke Cornett, Peyton Pritchard, and Hauser minutes, if Indiana can dominate that, which they can, why? They had the number one scoring bench in the league. I think their average was 44 points from the bench? It's something ridiculous. Everybody can score. The only guy they don't have is Benedict Mathurin. If they had Benedict Mathurin, this would be an even harder series to pick. It's not hard right now because Boston, still got to believe Boston's going to get there. Now, I am not completely opposed to Indiana winning this series. I believe Halliburton has what it takes. I believe Pascal Siakam has the championship pedigree to have what it takes. I believe Rick Carlisle's a great coach to go against Rick Mazzulla, and I think he's a better coach than Tom Mazzulla. Okay? If Porzingis doesn't play, I like Miles Turner. I like the physicality of Obi Toppin, of Aaron Naismith. I like the shooting of Nembhard. I like the defensive intensity that McConnell's going to put on Derek White and stuff like that. But that's the thing. Jason Tatum, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, KP, Drew Holiday. That's going to be the difference. Can Halliburton cook Holiday? And can Pascal neutralize Jason Tatum? And can Obi Toppin do enough to slow down Jaylen Brown? If that happens, I think the Indiana bench is way better and offensively skilled than the Boston bench. So if they keep it close, which I believe they can, and even though I got Boston in game one, I would be very careful if I'm a Boston fan. I would be very careful. This is not going to be an avalanche game. I don't think so. This team can play offense with you. It's not the defensive side is going to be the difference. It's not going to be the offense. You get in a track meet with this team, they can blow you out. If you listen to me right now, you went cold from three against Miami. They couldn't capitalize on it because they didn't have the three-point shooting. You go against Cleveland. They're not that great three-point shooting. They're better, but they're not that great three-point shooting. This team is really good at three-point shooting. Really good. They take really good shots. They're open most of the time. So it's going to be on Jrue Holiday to stop Tyrese Halliburton from getting assists, not just points, but assists. Tyrese Halliburton to be aggressive against Jrue. And then on the other side, Tyrese at least putting up a fight against Jrue and Derek White. I think Naismith will go on Derek White just because of the size is kind of comparable, but then he also has to be on Jaylen Brown. If not, I honestly would start Tyrese, Naismith. Yeah, I would go Tyrese, Naismith, Obi, Pascal, Miles. And then you're kind of switchable on the big positions, and you're kind of switchable and you're definitely switchable at the guard. That would be my approach game one. And just tell Tyrese, hey, be aggressive. Be aggressive. Look to score. And when you're looking to score, passes are going to open when the double team comes. You're a good enough passer. I think Tyrese's going to have a big series. I don't think they're going to win it. I got Boston in 6. Yes, I believe Indiana could get 2. And I believe they can get 1 in Boston, game 2 specifically, if they don't get game 1. Okay? If Jason Tatum does not show up this series, he did show up the last 2 games, maybe he found his rhythm. But if he doesn't show up this series, there are very possible that they can lose. Because Halliburton will show up. I believe that he found his stroke the last series. So, overall, I got Boston. Skeptically, though, cautiously, in 6. I'm not denying it could go 7, and I'm not denying Indiana can win. They're minus 1,000 to win. The Celtics, minus 1,000. They ate their words last year. We'll see what happens this year. I got Boston in 6. The other conference final, Timberwolves, Mavs. This is going to be, okay. I got Timberwolves in 6. I'll tell you why. First of all, I believe the Timberwolves will win at home. I think they'll defend home court. I think Ant has there's nobody on that Dallas Mavericks team that can stay in front of Ant. Not athletic enough, not fast enough, not skilled enough. Okay? They don't have a KCP. They just don't. Okay? They don't have an Aaron Gordon. They're going to stick PJ Washington on him. They're going to stick maybe some Kyrie, to pester him. The size is a 6'1", 6'2" to 6'6" is a matchup. Maybe some Luka, but I think that they'll try to hide Luka on McDaniels. The problem for Dallas is not just Ant. The problem for Dallas is that they are going to have to either play Lively and Gafford together to try to match up against Cat and Gobert. And you think really Gobert was getting cooked last series? This series, he'll show you why he's the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Jokic is his only matchup problem. That's it. In the whole league, Jokic is his only problem. Because of the movement, he controls the ball, the way that he scores, and he can pass. He causes most problems. He could defend anyone else. And Derek Lively being a traditional big and Daniel Gafford being a traditional big, this series will come down who rebounds better. The defense for the Timberwolves will shut down the Mavs in stretches. The Mavs will get hot in stretches. Luka, Kyrie, Tim Hardaway Jr., PJ Washington, Josh Green. They will get hot. Timberwolves can shut it down. Now it's up to the Timberwolves on the other end to punish mismatches. Cat, if they put anybody shorter than you, punish it. Just like you did last series, especially the last 2 games. Rudy, stop fumbling the ball. If you get the ball, keep it up high and just lay it up or dunk it. If not, pass that shit. Jaden McDaniels, keep hunting your shot. You're 6'9". You're going to have Luka on you, a little slow-footed. He's going to be tenacious. He's going to try. But I believe that you can win that matchup with your speed and your athleticism. Conley, it's going to be you and Kyrie. You versus Kyrie on the offensive end. You going to get mismatched and switched on because it's a pick and roll offense to Kyrie and Luka, and they're going to try to attack you. They're going to try to attack Kat. They're going to try to attack Rudy. This series will come down to rebounding and perimeter defense on both sides. On both sides. That means Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels, I believe in them more defensively, and in return, their offensive output will be better because they'll get transition buckets and stuff like that than Luka and Kyrie on the defensive end against McDaniel, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I believe Naz Reid will be huge in this series. Huge. He'll have if not a big game, big games. Naz Reid. Because he's a mismatch. He's going to take Lively out there into the 3. He's going to take Gafford out there to the 3. So is Kat. So the rim protection is going to be off. This is going to be an Anthony Edwards special series. I'm not saying he's going to, but I believe he should be able to average 35 in this series. Comfortably. Just attacking the rim. He doesn't even have to shoot threes. The threes are a bonus. So are the jumpers. He can attack the rim at will in this series. Because Kat's going to take out Lively to the three-point line. Because Kat's going to take out Gafford to the three-point line. He should be able to get into the lane whenever he wants. Same thing with Jaden McDaniels. But it's going to come down to what superstars are going to show up in the biggest moments. And I believe that this defense of the Timberwolves has traveled. It has traveled to Denver, one in Denver, one in Phoenix. It's one everywhere else. It'll win in Dallas. They have home court. This is going 6. Why is it going 6? Because Luka and Kyrie are too good. That's why it's going 6. And I believe Jason Kidd's a good coach. But it's going only 6 and not 7 because Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels are the best 2 perimeter defenders in this series. And the 2 best players for the Mavericks are the 2 perimeter scorers. Now, Luka's going to have his. I believe Luka will have a couple triple-doubles. I believe Kyrie will have an insane 40-point bomb. But I also believe Ant will have 40-point bombs. Maybe a 50. I think Kat has a good series. Jaden McDaniels has the possibility to have a wonderful series. So does Mike Conley. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Because there's no KCP, there's no Christian Brown, there's no Aaron Gordon. Those type of defenders are not in the Dallas roster. You got past those already. This should be a little bit more, okay, I can find a rhythm. Now, don't wait too long, but you can find a rhythm. So I got Timberwolves in 6. That means my final is Boston versus Timberwolves, and I got the Timberwolves in that. We already talked about that. I'm really excited for this Western Conference Finals. I'm really excited for the Eastern Conference Finals. I believe that we're going to have either a 22-year-old, 25-year-old, 26-year-old, or a 23-year-old with Tyrese Halliburton, superstar, win a championship this year. That's what the league, that bye-bye LeBron, bye-bye Steph, bye-bye Durant, that is over with. That is over with. It is the Ant, Tyrese, Jason, Luka, Shea, Victor Wembanyama, Jokic. That's the show now. That's the show. Zion when he's healthy. That's the show. Old people move aside. Okay? Really excited. Really super, super, super excited. And one step closer to the NBA Finals. Next thing we're going to talk about, Formula One. It was at Imola. Max won qualifying, as expected. McLaren was very close. Mercedes, not close. RB had a really good showing. Perez didn't make it out of Q2. Excuse me. And Alonso started 20th. Imola is a classic racetrack. What that means is that it is extremely hard to pass in this car. So hard to pass in this car. There were the first 40 laps. The only position changes were from pit stops or at the back of the field. Okay? With the last 30 laps after the last pit stops, Lando Norris was about 6.5, if not 7 seconds behind Verstappen. And I don't know what happened. Maybe it's a sign of hope. Maybe it's a sign that maybe we're getting back to competitive. But Lando Norris walked Verstappen down to under a second with one last lap left. And he couldn't do it. But it showed us a glimpse at maybe the tides are turning. McLaren's catching up. Ferrari still needs a little bit. Mercedes needs a lot. But at least McLaren, Lando, Oscar are catching up. Now, when Red Bull brings its upgrades, we got to see what happens. But it was an exciting race from the fact that you could see Lando cutting into the lead constantly. The degradation on Verstappen's tires was getting really bad. And, you know, he was slipping on corners and stuff like that. And Lando was just running him down. He needed 2 more laps. He would have won that Grand Prix. The thing that me and my dad have a problem with at Imola is that there's only one DRS zone and it's short. It is the front straightaway to the first corner, and it's pretty short. If you're not half a second or lower coming out of turn 19, you are not getting close. Okay? So that's something frustrating because I believe that they should put another DRS zone in the back straightaway, where, you know, some unfortunate events have happened in the past, including Jacques Villeneuve, Niki Lauda, and Ayrton Senna. RIP to all those 3 gentlemen. Niki suffered burns, and then Villeneuve died, and so did Ayrton Senna. Next is Monaco this week, including the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 in NASCAR. Monaco is by far the most exciting qualifying day, and also the most boring race. And the reason it's the most boring race is because the cars are too big. It was exciting in the 90s. It was even exciting in the 2000s. But the cars got too wide, too big, and they can barely pass in this track. But it's still the Super Bowl of the sport, and I'm very excited to see it. Hopefully, Max Verstappen doesn't win. Indy car. Let's start with Kyle Larson. This man can be in anything, and he's going to be good at it. He goes on Fast Sunday, which is the qualifying day for the top 6. He puts it in the top 12 at number 1 before the Penske boys go 1, 2, 3. So he gets bumped down to like 4th or 5th in the top 6. And then in top 6 day, he puts it first before the Penske boys. And then the Penske boys, put it first, and he's fifth in the Indianapolis 500. He's going to run the double. which is run the Indianapolis 500 and then go to Charlotte to run the Coca-Cola 600. Those are 1,100 miles in one day. What a beast. Only a couple guys have done it. Tony Stewart back in the day did it. Mario Andretti did it. And this kid can do it. I love Kyle Larson, series champion, of course, superstar. The guy can drive anything, and he showed that he could drive an Indy car. Penske looks like the strong team in qualifying. Does that mean that Joseph Newgarden is poised to maybe win it again? Maybe Scotty, maybe a Will Power? We'll see, because for some reason, when it comes to race day, even though last year Joseph Newgarden won it, Andretti Green runs pretty good, McLaren SP runs pretty good, and there's always Ganassi just lurking with Scott Dixon, and Alex Palou, so I think that it's going to be a great race. I love the Indianapolis 500. It's the greatest spectacle in racing. It literally, there are 4 crown jewels in racing, and it goes Indianapolis 500, Daytona 500, 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the Rolex 24-hour. Those are the pinnacles of racing. And this is the biggest one, 300,000 people in Indy. A whole month of celebration in Indianapolis, culminating on Sunday to see who gets to taste the milk and kiss the bricks and forever be enshrined into the legendary list of Indianapolis 500 winners. NASCAR All-Star Race. Shout out to Joey Logano winning $1 million at North Wilkesboro. Listen, shout out to Keselowski last week for winning after 144 starts of not winning, or 44 starts. One of those two. I believe it was 144 because he hadn't won in 2 years. North Wilkesboro, which is a classic from the early days of NASCAR, is just, I feel it's a short track. They should move the All-Star Race back to Charlotte. It was much better. This was a short track. There was a lot of beating and banging, and tempers flared with Ricky Stenhouse when he got put into the wall by Kyle Busch. And, later after the race, Joey Logano held off Denny Hamlin and, charging Fords. Fords are very strong right now. Now, can they keep it going? At Charlotte in the Coca-Cola 600, we'll see. It's the longest race of the season. It's about 4 hours. Goes from daytime to nighttime. Track changes. So many pit stops. Possibility for a lot of cautions. Really exciting race after the Indianapolis 500 and the Monaco Grand Prix in the morning. Baseball. There is a starting to separate. There is a separation happening from the cream of the crop to mediocre to meh. Okay, meh means mid. You guys don't know lingo. Okay. Shout out to Real Madrid, another La Liga championship. It's time for the champions. Yankees, Orioles, Tampa Bay's back over 500. Boston's 9.5 games back. Even Tampa Bay are 8 games back. Orioles are 2 games back of the Yankees. Toronto's 11 games back. That's tough right there. Cleveland and KC, 2 games apart. Minnesota 6 games back. Meh. Detroit is 7 games back. Meh. Although Tyreek Skubal is definitely putting in an early case for Cy Young. And then the White Sox are 17 games back. It's over for them. Only good player there is Garrett Crochet. Maybe Eric Fetty. Seattle, Texas, Houston are 4 games apart. Texas is 1.5 games back of Seattle. Houston is 4 games back. Houston has rebounded. The Angels are 7 games back. So are the A's. Meh. Philly, up 5 games on Atlanta. Up 12.5 games on the Mets. Up 12.5 games on the Nationals and 19 games on the Marlins. That season for the Marlins is over. Milwaukee's 2 games up on the Cubs. 6 games up on the Pirates. Meh. Although, now with Paul Skeens, 11 strikeouts in his second start. 100 pitches, his last pitch, 100 miles an hour. No hitter through 6. This guy's going to be an absolute beast. Easy thrower, easy velocity, nasty slider, splinker, changeup, curve, anything. He'll throw it. But his pitch mix is fastball, splinker, slider. That's his bread and butter. And then Jared Jones is a beast. And so is Mitch Keller. They're 6 games back. They need the offense to pick it up. St. Louis, 7 games back. Meh. Cincinnati, 8.5 games back. Need the pitching to catch up. Lodolo, Ashcraft, Abbott, Hunter Green. Need it to be more up par to what it's supposed to be. The offense also needs to pick it up, but the pitching is what really needs to pick up. The Dodgers are 7.5 games up on the Padres. Wow. Ohtani's murdering balls. So is Aaron Judge. He has 13 bombs now. Went on a run after a month of no homers. Gunnar Henderson putting up a case for MVP. Bobby Witt putting up a case for MVP. So far, William Contreras and Shohei. Mookie. 7.5 games up. Wish Yoshinobu Yamamoto pitching great. Walker Buehler came back. He pitched good. Don't have no Bobby Miller. We still got Tyler Glass now. So I expect the Dodgers to keep rolling. Plus 85 run differential. Absolutely disgusting. Padres, Cease is pitching well. They need more on the offensive side. Now Xander Bogaerts is hurt with the shoulder. So we'll see what happens there. San Francisco's 8.5 games back. Harrison's pitching well. Hicks is pitching well. Webb is pitching well. They just need more offense. Arizona's 9 games back. Need more from the offense. Need more from Corbin Carroll. Need more from Ketel Marte, Christian Walker, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Gabby Moreno. Need more. Brandon Pfaadt has been pitching pretty well. Gallen has been pitching pretty well. Maybe get more from them, but they've been pitching okay. Merrill Kelly, I believe, is hurt. And then Colorado's 15.5 games back. Tampa Bay recovering. Expected, right? Tampa Bay. Surprising is Seattle, but they have the best pitching rotation, I think, in baseball. I mean, when you can go George Kirby, Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, and Bryce Miller, that is, and then Brian Wu on your 5th day if you want, that's ridiculous. So is the Phillies. Up 5 games on the Atlanta Braves. I mean, I guess no Strider. Acuna's not hitting as well as he should. Neither's Matt Olson. But damn, 5 games? That's a lot. I expected more out of the Nationals. Mackenzie Gore hasn't taken a step yet. CJ is struggling a bit. I expect more out of them. Milwaukee and the Cubs, very close. And I expect to be very close. Shota's pitching great. They still have Justin Steele. And on the other side, you got Freddie Freeman, Colin Ray, so I expect that to be a battle till the end. But baseball's looking really good. I'm going to look at a lot of highlights. I've missed like the last 3 days of highlights. Just doing stuff and being with family and stuff like that. But I'm going to get caught up on all the highlights, see some breakdowns so I could talk a little bit more baseball. Lastly, what did I want to say? Shout out to the Panthers on beating the Bruins. We're going to the Eastern Conference Finals to face the New York Rangers in hockey. I believe we can win this series. We just have to be physical and hope that Shesterkin is not standing on his head. I believe that we'll win this series. I believe that we can win the cup this year after the disappointment last year in the finals. To Chuck, the whole team, I think we're poised to do it. Edmonton Oilers versus Vancouver Canucks tonight, Game 7. I'm going with the Oilers. I love Connor McDavid. I believe that he could get it done. And they will be facing, on the other side, Dallas, which is a very fast team, very good team. I expect that to be a hell of a series as well. I don't know much hockey, but I love that the Panthers are in it, that we beat the Boston. McJesus is still in it. So yeah, it's exciting to have a Florida team fighting for a championship, potentially. Really nice this year, because of all the disappointment. But thank you so much. I know that this was a long episode. I just wanted to, go through everything with you guys. I love you guys. God bless. Thank you for supporting. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any when I upload. We're gonna be back on regular schedule. I love you guys, and I'll leave you with the outro. Que todos quieren ser el chamaquito que no puede